feels great. I think that we needed a break. When you play 3 games on the road like that, and they were both very unique games. The first one in Edmonton with that wind and almost, and you do enough to win the game, and that goal is scored at the end, and then you go to Pacific and you get a man down so early in the game. So we needed something out of this game, and the guys they responded the way we needed them to respond. And I said this in the post game, it was nearly to perfection. Again, I'm I'm extremely demanding. So I know that when I'm gonna go back at and watch clip and videos, the guys know it's not gonna be all flowers. There's gonna be things for us to grow in, and now we have to enjoy, just breathe a bit, and let's go for our home opener.
Is that the kind of performance, especially just the type of attacking football, like leading into a home opener where you can build some interest in Winnipeg amongst the fans?
You're answering the question, right? I think every coach would like to have a sound defensive game and score goals. I think that we played on the front foot. We weren't afraid to press. We weren't afraid to step on them, to deal with the space that was behind us. And you get rewarded because you're going to recover balls in good spaces. And again, I need to go and rewatch the beginning of every action and how we scored our goals. But I think that this is a game, and the guys know, we've been talking about this a lot. We need to be a threat. We need to score goals by volume. And that's what we did today. And when I say by volume, is that the more you put at goal, the more you threaten at goal, create a separation, and just put a ball in, put a cross, get numbers in the box, there's going to be good things that will happen. And I don't want to also people to amplify things. It's not going to be possible to score 6 goals every game, but at least you give yourself a chance to win matches.
You can go ahead in the back.
Full congratulations.
Thank you.
3 points.
You haven't lost your accent. How come?
Thoroughly deserved. Excluding the 6 goals, the pace you attack, the energy you put in the attacking third, the willingness to win that second ball and recover lost possessions. That's something that, I know not every team can do. We've seen teams come in here over the last number of years, and we haven't seen a team, at least I haven't, with the type of performance we saw here this afternoon. Is that something that you can take a little bit of pride in, something that you've worked hard at it and the team are buying into it?
Absolutely. I think there's a big mental component to it. It's like I say, we're in an environment where we don't have the pressures of the eye level. And when I say the eye level, we're not in Man U and Barcelona where they lose 2 games and the coach's head is already on the chopping board. So I think that we need to understand where we're at. People want to see this type of game, and you're gonna lose some and you're gonna win others. But I want us to have these characteristics, and I want them to, and Brett is there, he knows, I want them to be excited about defending as well, just as excited to win a duel as they are as of scoring a goal. Because by doing that, good things will happen. You're always high energy, you're always moving your feet, and then when the ball comes to you, you're good to go. You're connected with the game. So that's what I want this team to be about. I think that there's things to grow in. It takes a lot. It's hard to sustain, but we work for that.
Just a quick follow-up with regards to Jean-Baptiste, obviously going back into the lineup here. Any update on his injury? 35 minutes into that first half.
Yeah, I think I thought at first it was his right knee, the way he just asked and called for, but it was his hamstring. So again, a game pace is different than training. Andrew was out for 9 months. We'll reassess tomorrow, but hopefully it's something that is managed, and we'll work with him, and he's going to be back, and he'll play many games this year. Yeah.
So I know you said you're not going to score 6 every single game, obviously, but multiple goals from multiple players, a new single game record for your club. Do you think you made any sort of statement about the offensive ability of your team just across so far?
A lot of things need to go well for you when you get a game like this. So we can't be delusional either. We need to understand that the game opened up. We scored first, and then we had a few half chances and a few chances, and we had the posts, and then the morale comes up, the belief goes up, and things started well for us. And there's games where it won't. So how do we respond to that? And I just want us to stay grounded. I want us to understand that we have a blueprint, and the day we deviate from that, it's going to be difficult, and that's going to be the challenge that I'll bring to the group on a daily basis.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do we have any further in-person questions? Okay, we'll move on to the virtual portion of the press conference. Benedict, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Phil, what do you think of Alessandro Riggi today? I thought he was impressive, and it seems to be gelling pretty well with the squad in his first couple of games.
Oh, man, I was hard on him this week. And he could attest to that, because he's a player that has a lot of quality. But I always felt that he had a second gear, and he was still not giving us that second gear. And I challenged him to that, and he responded. And that's what I want to see in players, because now he gave me an answer. And every time he drops from what he did today in his work, in his intensity, and how pragmatic he was on the ball and decisive. He wasn't, sometimes he tends to want to turn again with the ball. And but now I'll show him. I'll go back to this every time that he's deviating from it. He's a guy that we brought in because I had worked with Riggi. I've known Riggi for many years now. I think he was 15 or 16 years old. And I knew that he has special qualities. He's electric. He enjoys the game. He plays with a smile on his face. And I think that when you push the guys the right way, then you'll get results. And sometimes as coaches, it's not easy to figure out what the right way is. And you try one thing and another and until it works. And you can't quit on guys. It's too early.
And Moses Dyer was your leading scorer a year ago, and now he has 3 goals in 3 games to start the season. How important is it to get him going as well?
Important, man. The guy is heavy during the week if he doesn't score. So now he's gonna leave me alone for a few days. Let him do his thing. And it's and when I say heavy, it's, coach, can I do a bit more? Can I finish a bit more? But I'm not getting balls in the box. And so now I'll tell him, oh, relax a bit. You got a few. Now you could breathe and let it come naturally. Okay. And so we're happy for him. He's a guy that works very, very hard. And it's credit to the guys. Today was actually a game, Benedict, where I didn't talk a lot about the tactical components, and I felt the guys knew what they needed to do, and it was about them bringing joy and bringing the fight and the desire to win and to compete, and that's what we focused on. And Dyer was one of them.
Thanks, Phil. Congratulations.
Hey, Brett is looking at me over there because I asked him during the game, hey, Brett, how come you scored that goal? I didn't know you had that. And he goes, and me neither. It's the best goal I scored in my career. Just thought I would share that with you guys.
Jaden, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Coach Phil. There were moments in this game where you guys pressed really high up the field, and it seemed to create a lot of issues for Atlético Ottawa.
Yeah.
Is this something that we can expect from you guys? I know you talked about your players wanting to be just as hungry for a duel as they are for a goal. Is this what we can expect from you guys going forward?
I think that it's something that we've started to implement last season. We have references of pressure. We have moments of pressure. It's not possible to do it in every play, every action. It's important for the team to understand those moments. And when it's on, they need to go. And we felt we did it very well against Edmonton. We felt we didn't do it well at all against Pacific. We respected them too much and we backed off too much. Even with 10 players, there were moments where we were backing off without needing to. And I challenged the guys. We worked this week. We brought it up. We knew it had not been a good game for us when we talk about the pressure. So we responded, and that's what a coach wants to see.
You said today you didn't give too much tactical instruction, but the guys seemed to really click. And I know you said you worked on the high press during midweek, but it wasn't there last week. How do you what makes it click for the guys, and what does it?
I think the first thing is they need to have the mental disposition. Every player has the disposition to run when they have the ball. Not all of them have the disposition to run without it and to run hard, to run to affect the play of the opposition, run to disturb. We use the word harass the opposition. And I just feel that we have, and when we were looking at the players that would remain with us and those that would come in, we looked for that quality in them, and we feel that we have that in the players. So they know if they come with this mental disposition every game, you might not win them all, but we'll make it very difficult for the opposition to play against you. So that's what we want this team to look like.
Yeah, go ahead. So I think Phil already spoiled it, but best goal in your career there?
Probably, yeah. Considering it was my right foot, I think most people would say that.
Just describe it from your standpoint.
I mean, just kind of, it was one of those goals that just things started to open up. I've made those runs in previous games. I like cutting inside, especially when the winger gives me width. He occupies the fullback. I was able to cut inside. It's just that final product normally on my right is hit or miss, or I'll find a pass, and this one just seemed to open up. I struck it well, and I didn't even really see it go in. I fell on my back, and then everybody kind of piled on me, and I had a feeling that it was a goal.
What's the change been like, and what's it been like playing for Phil?
It's good. There's a lot of structure, which I think we were lacking a little bit in the previous seasons, but I think everybody's bought in. Everybody's excited, and you can see what happens when we're clicking. I think one of the questions that someone asked Phil was how did we, if he didn't give so much tactical information, then how did we know, how to be structured and things like that? It's because we worked on it for a year and a half now since he's been in charge, and we know exactly what he wants. It's not something he has to tell us every game. We've learned to adapt, and we have players on the field that can that have a lot of experience that can help the other players and adapt to what we need and what we're seeing.
Congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the goal.
Thank you.
You started off with conceding a late goal against Edmonton in your first game. You picked up a point. You then played 60 minutes last week with 10 men, and you still pulled out a respective 3-2 loss, albeit with penalty in the last minute. What happened this week? What was happened in training that you just had an idea that this performance was possible? Coming up against a team, an Ottawa team that had started off very brightly with 2 wins, not conceded a goal.
Yeah. And
you absolutely hammer them this afternoon and put 6 past them.
I think it's hard to take anything away from 2 games, especially the first 2 games of the year. A lot of new pieces, but we had players coming back, and we've seen what we're capable in our training. We've seen what we're capable in preseason, so we know what we can deliver and the attacking threats that we have. And our goal is, if we're sound defensively, which I thought we were, if we keep our structure, we have no problem, and we'll have no problem going forward and scoring goals. And I think that's most teams in the league could say that they have no problem scoring goals, but can we keep them out of the net?
And just a follow-up to that, you've now had in your 3 games, I think it's 14 goals now. Just a little bit under 5 goals a game. Full value for season ticket holders at Valour FC this year.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think fans will, at the end of the day, that's what they want to see. They want to see you win, but they want to see an exciting game. They want to see a lot of goals. So hopefully we can provide that next week.
Everything went wrong. I think they did the perfect game and we did our worst game. There was a clear plan of how to maintain their speed and how to maintain the individuals, and we weren't capable to keep attached to that plan. I think that we started to lose the game in the individuals because they started stronger than us. They started to win every duel, and after this, I think that we didn't manage well the key moments of the game. I think that there were 2 key moments. First of all, after the penalty, okay, not very clear penalty, but it's a penalty. The referee decides it's a penalty. And after this, I think that we started to think more on the referee that on the game, on what was happening. So we give them the option to score the second goal very, very fast. And then we started to return to the game. We started to return of what was our plan, what we wanted to do during the game. And we get close. We get to the 2-1, but then it happened the second key moment of the game. That it was that we didn't deal well. We didn't manage well the 3 minutes that were left in the first half. We were in the game, but we reacted like if it was the 3 minutes of the game, not the 3 minutes that the second half was still going to happen, and we still had 45 minutes to get there. So it was difficult to receive 2 goals before the second half. Mentally, this was like a hammer to us. And then we tried in the second half, but with not big conviction. I think that the second half was having clear conclusion of the second half is not a good thing to do today.
Do you think, because you start with back-to-back wins, first time in club history, do you think a game like this might almost brings you guys back down to earth a little bit?
Well, I don't think that brings them back to the earth. I think that we are the same team, same coach, same players, that we won the 2 rounds. If you have a global vision, is that we have still 6 points and we are second in the qualifier of the league. But still, we have to analyze what happened today and we have to improve it, surely. Okay, we have to think that this is not the way we have to manage the games. We have to improve it because if not, we are going to have trouble during the season.
Coach, in your starting lineup, you made 3 changes to the lineup from last week. 2 key ones with regards to your centre back and your central midfield. Was that more of a tactical approach to it, or was it something that you thought you could exploit against Valour with regards to what you saw on film?
It was totally tactical. We tried to put in the field 2 players that, in my thoughts, were going to give us more control with the ball because we wanted a control game, and it didn't happen. We received early, and then we started to play the game that they wanted. A game with no control, a game with a lot of space, a game in which they are comfortable because they have great players in the attacking. We weren't aggressive enough near the ball. We give them space and time. So I think that we did like a suicide in some moments of the game.
And just to follow up on a previous point you made, you get back into it at 2-1, 5 minutes left to go in the first half. You're thinking, okay, see out these 5 minutes, 1 touch, get the ball 40 yards up the park. There's no messing about with it. And you can see the set play. Again, and I think that possibly was the 3rd or 4th free header they got in that first half. Is that something that when you bring in a new defensive partnership, I mean, and the penalty kick was the same, the 2 players sort of go for the same ball, they get caught when it checks up. Is that something that's always a bit of a concern when you're bringing in new players who maybe are not defensively responsible on set plays as they should be?
Well, I don't think this is the main the problem. The main problem was there. I think that these players also train together every day. We've worked with them from 6 weeks ago in the preseason. They played together. So I don't think that the problem came from this. It's true that once you make a mistake, you get near the next mistake. But I think the main problem is that in the first 2 rounds we were a competitive team. We were solid, and today we didn't show solidness. I think that without solidness is going to be difficult. So we have to return back to see who do we want to be and get back to the track. I think this is all about it.
Sometimes, like, you haven't been on the road yet. You've spent some time, obviously, in Spain together, but can that, first road game and going on the bus and bonding help this group in a time like this early in the season?
Yeah, of course, but I think that the atmosphere in the squad is great. You can see it in the trainings. You can see how is the relations between the players. I don't think that this big defeat is going to modify these relationships because they are stronger than all this. So of course, the better thing today is that we only have 4 days until our next match. This is the better thing, that the distance between our next possibility to forget this is soon. So I think that we have to work hard from this afternoon, not from tomorrow, from this afternoon. Players, I'm sure they will see the game, they will analyze, I will also do it. And tomorrow we start to work for our next game in York.
So in the first 2 games that you guys have played, it was fairly compact, fairly manageable. You played some good soccer there. This game over here, it seemed like everything opened up. Is this for you like an anomaly, or is this?
Yeah, of course. It's not a normal situation.
Yeah.
We have to try to be compact, to be a secure team, a team that doesn't concede too much goal situations. And as I say, today we give them many chances to score us, many chances with space and with time. That is what they were looking for. So we have to keep working on these situations of being compact and being solid and be a competitive team. This has to be a must for us.
Are we good in the room? I'll go to the virtual. So we have Benedict on Zoom that has the first question.
Thank you. Carlos, what do you say to your team after a game like that and to sort of put one eye, I guess, towards the next game?
Well, usually I don't say anything the day after the match. Although we win, I don't send any message. If we lose, I don't send any message. I think that the first message they will see today in the press conference. And tomorrow, once we are cooled down, I think is the best moment to send those messages, because we will have a bigger perspective of everything. And I think that giving messages near the end of the game are not good messages. Never. When you win and when you lose, never are a good message if you give them very, very soon.
Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you, Benedict. And the last question will go to Jaden.
Hi, Carlos. How do you contain someone like William Keogh today? He seemed to give you guys a lot of trouble. And how do you contain someone like him, and where did it go wrong for you guys?
Well, containing is difficult. It's difficult, but the main thing is defending like a structure, defending without leaving him space. I think he's probably one of the players with higher speed in the league. Also, he has individual talent. So I feel that these type of players that they can kill you with space, you have to try to don't give them space. If they give them space and time, it's going to be difficult.
I think the spaces we left the opposition were far too big. We wanted to be a team that went out and trying to control the game and kind of live on the ball in their half. But I think we turned the ball over too much, and the spaces we left for them to exploit out wide and down the middle were far too big. And just from the first minute, we made it extremely difficult for ourselves.
You played on a championship team last year in Pacific. You're going to face moments of adversity. How best do you kind of deal with a moment like this that happens, real early in the season still?
Yeah, I think every season's not going to be straightforward. You're going to lose games. You're going to win games. You're going to draw games. But I think it's trying to stay level the whole time and don't get too high when you win, but then also don't get too low. When you lose. The good thing in football is you always have another game. So we have another game next Friday to hopefully put things right against York. But ultimately today was unacceptable and it wasn't anywhere near good enough.
Ollie, you've probably played in numerous games with this type of result. Hopefully for your own benefit, it's been the other side where you're the team that's been winning 6-1 or whatever. When you're losing in that manner, how frustrating can it be? Because there just doesn't seem to be any way to stop the bleeding. It just keeps coming at you. How tough is it to maintain the positive approach that keep plodding forward and make it 5-2 or make it 6-3 or something like that?
Yeah, it's obviously tough. It's no one wants to lose 5-1, 6-1. But I think we're all professionals. We need to stay professional, even when we're losing the game or things aren't really going our way. And ultimately, if you fall 5-1 down, you don't concede any more goals. You don't make it 6, 7, 8, because then it becomes even more embarrassing. So I think, yeah, we obviously weren't anywhere near how we wanted to be today, but I think we just have to keep going until the end and try and take any small positive that we can. Whether that be a little positive or not, but. Yeah, ultimately we'll watch the game back, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that we can work on.
I'll have a look here. I think we have Jaden on Zoom that has a question.
Hi, Ollie. After a tough loss like this, how is the dressing room feeling right now? What's the morale amongst the players?
It's probably as you would kind of expect. No one was really saying too much after the game. I also think after you get beat in that manner, it's very, very easy to point fingers and pass the blame onto other things or kind of make excuses. But there's no excuse for what happened today. We just absolutely weren't good enough, and yeah, I think everyone's kind of just reflecting on their own individual performance, and then in the coming days we'll probably get together as a group and kind of speak about ultimately what went wrong, and just make sure that something like this doesn't happen again.
After going down, I guess 3-1 or even 2-0, did you feel like there was a moment when you could have turned the game around?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it went to 2-1, I think we scored in the 42nd or 43rd minute, and we just have to manage the game better. It's better to go in at half time at 2-1 rather than 2-0. So we get a goal back, and then instead of getting through to half time and kind of regrouping, we concede another 2 goals, and 2-1 turns to 4-1. So. Yeah, I think that was a big turning point, and certainly something that we didn't do well enough. Maybe it would have been a different game if we go in at 2-1, but 4-1, we're just giving ourselves a mountain to climb.
Thank you, Jaden. Do we have any final question, Richard?
Carlos was saying that despite this, you still do have 6 points coming out of this homestand. So what do you take away from these 3 games as a whole?
Yeah, I think the first 2 games we obviously defended very well. We were compact. We didn't really, especially in the first game, concede too many chances against Calgary. And then last week we conceded a few more chances, but we still defended relatively well and managed to beat Halifax. So I think overall the first 2 games we can be satisfied and happy with taking 6 points, but like I said today, obviously wasn't anywhere near good enough. But 6 out of 9, it's not the end of the world. It's still an okay start. We're second I think, in the league right now. But to me, that doesn't really mean anything because there's 25 games left. So there's a very, very long way to go. And yeah, we need to improve on what happened out there today.